I've interviewed a couple of times, an absolute gem, musical genius, if you like, singer-songwriter in his own right, and done some other projects, and we might not talk about that, but we're going to talk about what he's up to now, and it's great to introduce once again the awesome Mr. Matt Hoy.
God,
You're on
yeah.
screen. There you go. There you
God
go.
bless you. I'll tell you what, checks in the post, mate.
No, you are though, mate. I've interviewed you a couple of times, and every time's been an absolute pleasure. And you're an interesting guy, very talented, love your music, and it's great. And I came to Birmingham to your event after COVID, and you had that party there, and it was wonderful
Yeah,
to see people, friends. They're friends rather than just fans, aren't they? It's
yeah,
wonderful.
absolutely. It's been a busy few years since that. I mean, I can't believe that. How long was that? 2023, was it?
Yeah, well, yeah, something
Yeah,
like that. 22, 23. It's like
yeah, yeah.
three, 4 years ago, I think. So it's just zoomed by, absolutely zoomed
Time
by.
flies. Time flies when you're fighting the powers that be. Eh? Who knows? But no, it's been an interesting time. But I think it's for me. It's a time to wrap my head back around a bit of music and do what I'm intended to do, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah,
The new band House of Fyah is something that's kind of brought me and pulled me back out of the quagmire, as it were. Do you know what I mean? It's given me something to get my teeth into, and also it's not it's because with the solo stuff, you kind of it's all on you, you know. And because there's four of us in the band now, there's three other guys that are kind of taking as much responsibility as I am in, you know, and it's nice to be. I like that camaraderie, you know, and it's not just me taking everything on the chin, you know.
yeah. I think I said that to a guy I interviewed the other week, and he's a solo artist, and it's like this. It's a couple of ways of looking at it. You're a master of your own destiny, but then again, it's all on you. Whereas if you're in a band, you can do different things, can't you? And
Mm.
you can have another person singing, or you can have different things going on, and you're not just on your own, are you? It's not just you, and
No,
it could be. It's like doing this. It can be quite lonely, can't it? And that's why it's good to have other people around. I like doing a show where I've got a couple of people in the studio and things like that. It's a totally different feeling, and it's great. But I mean, for people, we're not going to go talk much about that. But if you don't know, Matt is brilliant. Used to sing with Ali Campbell and Astro in the UB40. Sadly, we lost Astro a couple of years ago, an absolute awesome vocalist. But so if you don't know, Matt has got a good history of musical talent. And as it said on my research about you, did you sing back in with Boy George?
I did a long, long time ago. Yeah, one of his backing singers was ill, and I was asked to step in while he was on tour. I think that was about 1997, so that was quite way back when. Yeah, but yeah, he's another legend that we.
Yeah, he's brilliant, isn't he? I remember back in the day listening at a Culture Club tape that I used to. That's how old I am. Played in my car and I loved it. And because you've seen the video. I've started using a system, and my brother's developed a system to
Yeah.
research. And one of the questions was about you belting Tom Jones out at 9. I think it was. What's that all about?
Yeah, I think I can't remember for the love of God what interview it was, but it is true. I mean, Engelbert Humperdinck, Tom Jones, Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, for want of many of vocalists back in the day, and it was all because my mum was quite well. She was quite old to have me back in the day. She was born in '34, so she was 40 when she had me in '74. So I
Right.
was brought up on all the old crooners, like Matt Monroe and
Oh yeah, awesome.
I mean, especially Engelbert Humperdinck and stuff like that, Jim Reeves and all that kind of stuff. And I had one of those portable little record players that was hers. It was a Bush one that it was like a suitcase,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember. Yeah, I know what you mean.
a big batch of her records, her vinyls. I mean, a lot of them were scratched and, you couldn't play, they would just get sticking in them. But there was quite a few in there. That's what I did. And that's how I got into music. I love music. So all I wanted for Christmas then was LPs, back in the day.
Yeah. It's the same. Me mum and dad always had music playing, always had music playing, and that's why I got into music. And like I used to say, I can't play an instrument, can't sing, but I've actually started learning the drums. So I've got my drum kit over there. Look.
Fabulous. Fabulous. Is it a real one or electric?
No, it's a real one, mate. It's a real one.
I say.
It's a real one. It's acoustic, and then my wife will come out and go, everyone can hear your music. I went, yeah. Well, I keep telling you what an electric one, so it's quiet, and he kept telling me not to get one, so they'll have to put up with me banging and clanging, won't they?
Well, and then if you can play the drums and throw darts at that dartboard at the same time, that'll be even.
I know. Well, he's put me dartboard out of action because the last thing I want is a dart going through the through the top of me skins. I don't want that. So it's sort of kiboshed me dartboard. But my neighbour's got a dartboard in his man cave, and the one next door, but one's got one as well. So I'm all right for dartboards.
You're all right.
But yeah. So how did you all get together then? So you've got House of Fyah, and it's spelled FY. I'm dyslexic. You did tell me, and I've got it up here. Tell me how it's spelt, Matt.
FYAH.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So how did you meet the guys then?
I'll tell you, Kirk. I'll tell you how we got together. It was done in secrecy, actually, and it was very skullduggerous how it was achieved because Tony Mullins, who's the keyboard player in House of Fyah, was the keyboard player in the other Ub40, the original lineup. So attention, hasn't it? So what happened was a mutual friend of ours organised a meeting at his studios and basically didn't tell either one of us. We thought we were just going on our own, but he organised the meeting, and then when I turned up there, Tony was there, and I walked in, and obviously me and Tony have got no with each other. It's all the Campbells and all them, like they're in-house fighting and all that stuff. So we sat down and had a conversation, and then Steve Clark turned up, who was the drummer and the MD in House of Fyah, and we just started talking about music and what if we were going to do anything in the future, what would it be, and then we put a band together. So Tony obviously left the original lineup. I think it was in 2021, 22, I think. I'm not sure on that day.
Yeah.
For various reasons and issues that he had with the original lineup. Obviously, I left Ali's Ub40 in 2021 with the various reasons I had for doing so. So we've come together. So there's myself, Steve Clark, Tony Mullins, and Dennis Jarrett, who's played with Michael Rose. He's played with some amazing people. Steve Clark's played with Vibes Cartel, Beanie Man. He's worked with Elephant Man. He's worked with just loads of people. So the credentials are all there. But we just it all kind of slotted together really well. We kind of got on really well together. We started having the crack and the banter, should we say, more or less immediately. And since we've been in the studio, it's kind of gelled really quickly, and we kind of have fallen into our roles really well, So we've got the first track out now, which is a John Holt cover. Actually, Chris Christopherson wrote it originally. It was a country and western song. But John Holt had a hit with it off 1,000 Volts of Holt, and it's in the Heritage chart. And it's currently standing at number 24, which is amazing. It's only been in there 2 weeks, so we're over the moon about that,
Yeah, I'm sure you've had one in the Heritage charts before, haven't you? Have you had one in there before? I don't know.
Well, Kirk, I've had 4 in there, and I've had 3 number ones, and 1 at 2 weeks at number 1. That's what I've had in there, sir.
There you go. You see, he's I told you, magical. Magical. Yeah.
Statistics, Kirk.
Pardon?
I said, come to me for all the statistics.
No, well, if you don't know, there's no. I'm not even. I did all that yesterday with me Chat GPT, and I've not even got it up because it's got on. But anyway, I should bring it up again, shall I, in a minute? Yeah. It's wonderful, mate. And I suppose because you're not all kids, right? So you're not all like 16, 17, and you've been round. A couple of you have been around similar sort of bands and similar sort of vibe and all the rest of it, and I presume that's why you found it easier to gel together, if that makes sense. And if you're the same, you'll also not just putting a band together because you play, let's get together. You're actually you've selected each other, which makes a lot more sense and makes it a lot easier than then try to cobble something together. So fair play for you. Fair play to you.
Oh, no, absolutely. I think when you get to, I'm the youngest in the band, but I think once you get to a position in life when it's all you've done all your life is being a touring musician, you kind of miss that lifestyle. And I think there's a camaraderie between each other because only other people that have done that kind of job understand what it was like. Do you know what I mean? Because it's a certain type of person that tours, and when you and I think that's why the banter came so quick, because with very similar types of people. But it was just so easy, and I think we like you've said, we're not out there, with the notice boards on the wall in the recording studios looking for a vocalist, looking for a bass player. We do it for the love of it, and we've come together because we enjoy playing reggae music and we enjoy performing live. And I think as the four of us together as an amalgamation, we know we can come up with some quality music. And I think sadly that's been missing in the UK of late, is some quality reggae music. It's kind of gone by the wayside and got lost a little bit. So hopefully we can try and inject a little bit more rhythm, as they call it, back into the UK.
Yeah. No, it's good. So you've obviously done a cover. What's your plan? Are you planning to do more covers, or have you got some of your own works? I presume you've got your own stuff rocking.
No. It's going to be majority. I can't even get my teeth in. Majority of it's going to be original material. The first one we did as a cover because we just thought everybody would know it. It's easy to get your ears around. And also when my solo stuff is, I was with John Holt about 2 weeks before he passed away. And I was sat in a hotel with him in Holland with his grandson, having breakfast. And I said to him that I was going to record one of his songs on my solo album. And I mean, he probably couldn't give a shit really, but he kind of gave me his blessing. I always just said I'm going to do a John Holt song, but I never got to do it with my solo stuff. So it was the perfect opportunity to do it with the boys. And also I did. Do you remember back during the lockdowns and everything when people did those kind of, I don't know, a minute and a half of a bit of recording? I did half of that track then, and he got such a good response. I thought, well, people are going to know it, so let's let that be the first one out there. But in about 4 or 5 weeks' time, we shall have a second track being released, which is completely original. And I think people are really going to warm to it because it's the kind of reggae music that hasn't been out there for a while. It's a little bit old school, it's a little bit classic, and I think people are really going to warm to it. I really do. We've all got a really good feeling about it, and I think it's going to be something quite special.
Awesome. I'm just wondering if we should play some of it or all of that track that we're talking about and then come back. What do you think?
Oh, I think you should go for it, mate. Yeah.
We're going to play, you know what
I mean?
we will be. I mean, we do on a Wednesday. We do the indie, more indie, but Janice will probably go mad. I'm going to slip this reggae track in 1 week, and she'll go absolutely ballistic because that's what I'm going to do. So a bit wild like that. Anyway, people, let's have a listen to this. House of Fyah, spelled Fyah, Matt Hoy, and we're talking to right now. Have a listen to this.
Like the shadows on the wall, come and lay down by my side.
Oh yeah, I love that, Matt.
Oh bless you, thank you, mate.
Absolutely love that. It's a great song anyway, isn't it? It's a classic. I know that. I've grew up listening to that, and that version is brilliant, absolutely brilliant, lovely. Janice says fab cover and awesome vocals. It is, isn't it? Because you could do a cover and completely destroy it, but you've not at all. It's no, they can, don't they? People do a cover and you go, oh my god, why are you doing that? But that is nice. It's a nice cover. Musically, lyrically, it's lovely, lovely. The horn section there popped in, and we had a bit of a change, and I like it.
Well, we all loved recording it. To be fair, it was one of the, because we're all of a similar age. You know what I mean? There's not too much between us, so it was. John Holt is very much loved between the four of us. Do you know what I mean? So it was a pleasure to record that. And try and do it justice more than anything, especially for John Holt. Do you know what I mean? Because, like you say, you can do a cover, and it can be really not just crap, but disrespectful sometimes. You know what I mean? So this is kind of with respect to John Holt. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I didn't mean you. Like when I said that, I didn't mean that. I just mean you hear some tracks, and people do a cover and you go, oh my god, what have you done to that song? You've just completely you've ruined it for me forever now. Do you know what I mean? It's nowhere. Well, that's good. That's a great track, and. Listening to that, and from what you said earlier on, I can imagine when you was in the studio recording that, a lot of laughy faces nodding, and I can feel that in the song, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah. And this is what hopefully the rest of the album people will feel the same as well, because obviously that was a cover and we were doing it out of respect for John Holt and trying to do it justice really. But the original material that we've done together, even us as the four of us, we're kind of looking at each other going, oh my, this feels like something special. Do you know what I mean? It just, when something's good and you kind of get it, but sometimes when you hit gold, you kind of have a special feeling and think, no, this is something different. This is next level. Do you know what I mean? And next 2 or 3 singles, even that they're very, very. There's nothing been like them for a long time in the UK reggae wise. We're really proud of them, and we really hope that people link into it, because I think reggae music, like I said, in the UK, it's still there and it's still a thing and people still love reggae music. But I think even the kids nowadays are kind of harping back down to the old stuff, I mean, my son is 20 and he prefers the old reggae music because the new stuff hasn't really got, it's not deep enough for him. Do you know what I mean? It hasn't got that character like the old school music. We used to play it on vinyl and you can hear the crackling and then you'll never get that back, I don't think. And I think that's what we're trying to achieve. And because of our ages combined, you know what I mean? It's like we're nearly 3,046. So I think we can touch on some of the older stuff there.
No, I think you're right. I got my lad into reggae, and I got into some of his other stuff that he's in. But he does go back to his reggae stuff and listen to it. And it was one of my. I've always got like music. One of my first music was ska. I really got into ska about 13, 14. I was like, oh my God, what is this? And then got into reggae, and that's how my reggae sort of grew, and the Ub40s and all that sort of stuff. It's fantastic, and there is a movement out there, and there is a reggae, there is a reggae following in the UK. I mean, it's not. It's on everywhere. It's subliminal. It's in a lot of, because obviously our friend Dan Evans does one of his spots on his show, and it's in films, it's in TV shows, it's in advertisements, and people don't know. But I think for me, the thing with reggae is you can put reggae on even if it's not sung in English. The rhythm, the beat, the feeling of it just does something to you. You just want to dance, don't you? I do anyway. With reggae, I love all different genres of music, but I think reggae for me just gets you going. You put that anywhere, especially if you're in the sunshine in a barbecue or anything. Put some reggae on, whatever it is, and you can bop along to it, can't you? Even if you don't know what it is.
Absolutely, but I think the thing what we're trying to achieve is, I mean, do you remember that kind of unique British sounding reggae that was from back in the day? I think it's more that. I think reggae music is still very much apparent, and like you say, they use it for commercials and all that kind of stuff because it sells. It's like you say, as soon as you hear it, you want to dance. But there's mega artists out there, like I mean, Vibes Cartel is the biggest reggae artist in the world at the moment, and then you got Beanie Man, you got Mavado, you got Luciano. There's so many different styles of reggae music out there. It's especially within New Zealand as well, because you've got that South Pacific kind of reggae which also moves across to Hawaii, the Hawaiian reggae. There's so many different kinds of reggae music globally. Yeah, the UK has its own unique sound as well, and I think that's what I'm talking about when it's been missing for a while. Yes, like when you hear the Ub40 stuff from the 70s and early 80s, or you hear the specials and that kind of brass sound. You know what I mean? You can never repeat that. You know what I mean? So that's what I want to try and bring back. That's what we all want to try and bring back, me and the boys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like to say that was the sort of stuff, the ska, the specials. You lived that, and then the drum beat, and then the horns and everything. You're like, oh my, I've got singles now talking about it.
But all of it, the beat selector and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
The beat.
It was, you know what I mean?
Yeah, fantastic stuff. And you're right, and we've not got that, and I think it is. If people are not aware of it, or they probably are, because it's been everyone knows some of the selector stuff and some of the beat stuff and what have you. But for me, that really drew me in back in the day was the horn section and the you know what I mean, the saxophone. The saxophone for me when I was like, oh my God, what is this? It's just because not aware of it in anything apart from like classical stuff. Do you know what I mean? It's not.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, for me, it's always the specials with the brass, and
Yeah.
it was Gino, the track Gino by.
Oh, that was one of my all-time. I remember playing that at in the Fun House at Blackpool when it first came out. Oh, love it, love it.
And then he turned into that slower beat. You know what I mean? He's just like, oh, you never get that again. It was just a vibe. You feel that in your stomach, everything.
It's sad, really, isn't it? Because it won't come back, and it's, I think, because people are. Not saying people are not going to appreciate it and get it, but I think because we've moved on and everything's virtually throwaway and doom scrolling and it's all instant stuff. I think that's where it's lost and people just move on. And that's why I do the show we do, which is indie, because there's loads of reggae stuff. There's loads of good indie bands out there, young lads producing absolutely brilliant music that are not getting out there because we're being fed this other nonsense and it's solo artists singing whatever.
What I think it is as well, Kirk, is the fact that back in the day when you had those wonderful bands like Dexy's Specials or all that kind of stuff, music was played live in a studio then. So it's all vibrations and frequencies. And they were real instruments and you felt them through the records, Now it's all digital. It's all... you can make records in your own bedroom now, in your little box room, you know what I mean? Back in the day, you had to go into a studio and the brass was played live, the drums were played live, the bass, the guitar, the keys, everything was live, you had to go in and record it separately. Now you can get all the instruments off one keyboard. There's something about that is not as authentic for me, and that's what we're trying to do as well within the band, is play all like a live situation, do you know what I mean? So it's real, the resonance is there,
Yeah. It's going to be good. I'm looking forward to what you bring out, and as you bring it out, we'll be checking out. So, you're only just putting down your tracks. What's the plans going forward for touring or getting out there? Have you got anything planned? Or are you going to get the music out first? What you doing?
We're solely concentrating on the music at the minute and just putting good tracks out. We are in talks with doing some shows. Maybe coming in December or maybe early in the new year. We are talking with somebody about doing that, but we're not concentrating on that. It's not our priority. The priority is to put about 3 or 4 good tracks out there and then follow it with a great album. We just want people to listen to good reggae music. And then we'll go and play it live. Do you know what I mean? Because that's what we do. That's what we go out and play live. We're touring musicians. So we can't wait for that, and I can't wait. It's all well and good, like we're number 24 in the Heritage chart now. We've only been on there 2 weeks, and that's amazing for us. But you can't see people's reactions. You can see the result of it because we're going up the chart. But when you play live, you've got that interaction right there in front of you. So you appreciate how much people like the music because they're in front of you telling you how much they like it. And we can't wait for that,
Yeah. So it's a totally different feeling, isn't it? And I can imagine that you've missed that going live and going out and interacting with the fans. And if you've always done that, that must be, like you said earlier on, it must affect you because you want, that's the thing you like, you're passionate about. It's not a vanity thing, but you're getting that interaction, aren't you? And I think if you've had it, you want it, don't you? You want that back. You want that.
Oh, absolutely. I think the only thing I can liken it to is if you were like a Formula One driver and you kind of come out the car and you've been out the car for 5 years, but you've done loads of interviews about talking about getting in a new car and the building of it and the aerodynamics behind it and the technology and how we're going to go out and start racing it. But it's when you get in it and go around the track for the first time and put your foot to the floor, that's us on stage doing a gig, performing, it's having that feeling back. And as I said, we're all touring musicians. We've all done it all over the world. And it's like a camaraderie. It's that little look on certain tracks and what the vibes we have between each other, the interactions, and it's the studio and the live. It's a whole package, you know what I mean? And this is the reason we're doing it. And this is why we'll still do it. Even though we're in our 50s, do you know what I mean? We still want to get out there and entertain people because that in return entertains us and gives us that satisfaction that we still can make music, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Good music.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't watch much of it, but you're right. Age is not an issue, is it? Because not saying his performance was good or bad or indifferent. What I'm saying is you can understand the likes of Rod Stewart at 80 playing Glastonbury and being interviewed saying, I was really nervous. This was a really important. And he's 80 and he's been doing it for ages. He doesn't need the money. He doesn't need to be on stage. Doesn't need the stress of it, does he? But so why has he gone and done that? He's gone and done it because, like you, that's his passion. He's doing it. He'd probably do it. He'd probably done it if they didn't pay him. Do you know what I mean? Well, he might not have done. You know what I'm saying? It's in him that much. He doesn't need to do it, does he? But he's gone and done it.
I think as well the love for music, and especially from being from Birmingham as well. I mean, I'm you would have to have been on another planet to miss the end gig for Black Sabbath. And Ozzy.
No, yeah.
You kind of you get a sense of the respect that Birmingham has, because it's kind of the home of rock music, Birmingham. And as we were growing up, and as I was growing up, doing all the Spit and Sawdust pubs that are in and around Birmingham, they were all kind of really rock venues. Do you know what I mean? So to see that the other day and see Ozzy just sat on that chair and still banging it out with the band and all the other people that turned up, all the other megastars from all over the world.
Yeah.
It's that in itself. It's an event. It's a special place to be, and I feel sorry for Ozzy in some respects, because he's retired now and he's never going to get that again. I'm so happy that it was a mega event. Do you know what I mean? But to retire from doing something that you love, it must be heartbreaking, you know?
Yeah, and obviously he's retiring, he's not well, is he? And they had to wheel him on his big throne and everything, and he wasn't biting any heads off bats that night or anything, was he? So, not many.
No, definitely.
But yeah,
definitely
it's great,
not.
and it's great that he's done that, and he's rounded off after all that time, because they've been going a long time, and he's still, and he's all the other things he's done. He's the Osbournes. I don't like a lot of the reality TV kind stuff, but the Osbournes, I used to watch that, and he just cracked me up. It's just unbelievable. Didn't care, did he?
Well, really weird is a mad story for you. Back in the day, before I'd started doing reggae or anything like that, right at the beginning of my career, I was in a studio in Birmingham, and we were recording stuff, this band that I was in at the time. And I've always been renowned for having kind of one of those big voices, the power voices, as they call it. And the guy who owned the studio secretly sent off the tape that we'd recorded without telling us, or telling me even, to his guy in Los Angeles. Right, so this guy in Los Angeles has passed it to the owner of that studio out there, and he turned out to be a guy called Don Arden. Now, Don Arden is Sharon Osbourne's dad, so he owned Jet Records, who signed Black Sabbath originally. And so this is me. I think I was about 17 or 18, and I've been in this studio, with all the dreams of being a pop star. And all of a sudden I get this phone call, and I'm living as a single parent with my mum in a flat in Bourneville in Birmingham. And I get this phone call, and it's Don Arden phoning me from Beverly Hills in Los Angeles going, I really need to talk to you. I've got this tape, blah, blah. And he told me all about it. And the first phone call, I was just looking at my mum going, is this for real? He said, I'm going to speak to some people and then I'm going to call you back. So he phoned me back the following week. Very much similar kind of conversation, but he said he'd spoken to Jim Steinman, and because of the style of my voice, he wanted to write something new and sign me to Jet 2 Records, because he was re-establishing the Jet Records thing.
Right.
And then he mentioned some other kind of stuff. Me and my mum were like no, we can't. I don't think this is just too much. It was just too much at the beginning of my career just to kind of get our heads around. And I can't remember how it ended, but it was a bit of a shock to the system, because obviously Jim Steinman and everything, he was the guy who wrote Bats Out of Hell for Meatloaf and all that kind of, and Celine Dion. So it was all a big bar. So I've got a bit of a link there with the Osbournes.
Yeah, you could have gone on a totally different path, and you know what I mean? It's mad, mate.
I could have been fucking bats heads off, mate.
He could have been doing something now. You won't be talking to me. You'd be in LA somewhere. I don't know, doing something. But a brilliant, amazing story. Janice just said, yeah, it's absolutely fantastic story. I just find it fascinating when you talk to people or do stuff, how things link together. Do you know, like the sliding door thing? And if you've ever seen that film, how events doing one thing leads you to something else, which brings you to it's mad, isn't it, when you look back at things? You don't see it at the time, but as things progress, it sort of all links together, and it all makes sense. Oh.
Yeah. Another really quick weird one for you. when I first became a vocalist, obviously I had to buy a microphone so I could sing live, because not all venues had microphones, and you had to bring your own, you know.
Yeah.
So I wanted something different, so I bought one of those. You remember the 1950s ones, the square silver ones?
Yeah. The Elvis type ones, yeah.
It was a Shure. They're Shure. Them ones are.
Yeah.
Big switch at the bottom. Anyway, I bought it from a little music shop in Birmingham, just at the back of Snow Hill Station, and he said he was second hand, and he said it's only been used once. He said so you can, you know, it'd be fine. He said, but he said it's never been used live. He said it's only been used as a prop. And I went, oh, right. I said, well, what do you mean? He said, well, it was used in the music video. And it was the one Ali Campbell used in Kind of Falling in Love. You know, when it comes down from the ceiling, he's holding it. It was that one. So there's a link.
Wow. And years later, you're singing with him. Do you know what I mean?
I'm singing it on stage with him, yeah.
Wow. Did you recount that story to him about the microphone?
I did, yes, yeah.
I bet he was blown away.
Well, I think the amount of things that happened to Ali Campbell over his, you know, career, I think that's one of the minor things. You know, some of the told me.
It's an interesting story. Well, I'm interested in it anyway, but yeah, yeah. Anyway, enough of him. Enough of that. That's in the past. It's in the past. Hey, I don't know if you want to talk about it. You've been doing a lot of stuff on the towers as well, haven't you? Or do you want to zoom past that?
No. I've taken a break from it. I'm still interested, and I'm still working on it, and I'm still helping people, and I'm still giving people advice on it and information on it. But it's something that's I'm very passionate about, because people don't understand the detrimental health that these things are having to their healths. You know what I mean? The amount of radiation that these things emit is catastrophic. And also the LED street lights, I don't know if you've noticed that they're put all that. It was all during the lockdowns. It all went up during the lockdowns. That's why we weren't allowed out, because they were putting all this shit up, you know. It's so the levels of it that are out there are just so dangerous for people's health. But it's all done illegally, because basically we never got a vote for that. We never got asked permission for all that, and we pay taxes and we pay council tax. Blah blah blah, and we never got asked about any of this. And the thing is, if you approach the council and ask them, because I've got all the facts for it, you know, I'm in touch with people that are radiation experts and stuff like that, and I've got the blueprints for all of this stuff, so I know the facts behind all of it, and I know what's in them. But they won't talk to you. They just ignore you. So it's kind of an act of terrorism, is what they're doing. So I kind of led the forge as to people stopping paying their council taxes, because it's not really meant for services. I mean, 80% of council tax goes to HMRC anyway. And a lot of it goes to areas that are funding proxy wars and all this kind of stuff that, you know, people know nothing about. Very little of it actually goes to the services that it's supposedly going to, like the police and, you know, your refuse and all that. I mean, if you know your stories of the refuse in Birmingham, it was just, you know, abhorrent, really. You know, people living in squalor, rats running around the streets, and, you know, but now all of a sudden they've come up with $3 billion infrastructure for the city centre of Birmingham. It's like, well, where was that 6 months ago when we couldn't, you know, get the bins emptied?
Yeah, because you want to reduce, not give them a pay rise, reduce their salaries, their wages by a substantial amount. It's just beggars belief, doesn't it? How can they do that? It's absolutely crazy.
Do you know what? It worked out. The fact that the deduction they'd made on their wages annually meant that they were losing nearly £6,000 each per person.
I know. How can you justify that? It's just, when I looked at it, I thought this just doesn't make any sense at all. Well, like you say, we find money for other things like HS2, and this is going on. Let's fund that, or give some money to this, give some money to that, or you know what I mean. And you think, hang on a minute, you've got people doing a service which we need, because if you don't do it, you know, it's death and disease, because it is, because, you know, rubbish is terrible, and it's mad. And I suppose you can end up down a rabbit hole with it, can it? It could be all consuming, Matt, as well. And when you're passionate about things, and I just wanted to bring you up. I don't want to. You know what I mean? I depress everything, but
it's the way I'll say on it. It's like, because once you kind of find out one thing that's fraudulent, it gambles then, do you know what I mean? And then it leads on to the council themselves and how fraudulent they are, and the fact that they were bankrupt in September 2000. Where were we? 2020. They declare bankruptcy. The fact that they're a company and they're on Company's House, so they shouldn't be sending people bills anyway. It just all got, it's all there. I just think I need a break. I need to stop now.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you, because I went down a very deep rabbit hole, and the end of last year, start this year, with all the political stuff going on, I've had to get away from it and just go, I can't do anything about it. I'm going to stop following all that stuff. I'm not interested, and it's made my life a bit more real. So what you're doing with music. So the other reason I was going to, I sort of went and asked you about that is, but a lot of reggae to me, earlier reggae, was about people being put down, persecuted, etc., etc. There's a story behind it, wasn't it? Very political. A lot of the stuff in the 70s. So the stuff that you're bringing out, where would you pitch that? Is it more love stories, or is there any political angle? How your first few tracks?
I think lyrically with me, I mean, this is the privilege as well with being in the band. It's not all of the lyrics are written by me. Do you know what I mean? I mean, in fact, most of the lyrics are written by Steve and Dennis. Which is a pleasure for me, because I just turn up in the studio and all I've got to do is sing. Do you know what I mean? But I think you've just hit the nail on the head regarding the old school reggae. And that's what we lost. In the 70s and 80s, certain bands were out there forging against the machine. They were like fighting the government. Everything was, it was political. They were making a political stance, and they were for the people. I think of late, those same bands have kind of turned over or bent over, and they're part of the machine now. And this is why we were going back to the reason I left the band in the first place, is because I wasn't prepared to take whatever it was they were putting out there, just so I could carry on working, or go on holiday, or all that kind of stuff, which they were promoting, and they kind of made me feel like I was the wrong one, because well, he's had loads of vaccines anyway. This is just another vaccine. And the catastrophic effects I've seen since then.
Yes,
I'm sorry I didn't have it, but I just can't believe how a band or an entity of music that from the 70s and 80s can change and go from being left to right, or whatever you would call it nowadays. Because I don't think they're right anymore. But do you know what I mean? They've kind of jumped the fence, which is really sad, I think.
Yeah, you see it a lot, don't you? I mean, one of my favourite bands back in the day, well, there's just three bands I used to follow, but was the Jam. And when the Jam first started, as an example, it was very raw. It was like not aggressive, but you know what I mean. It was like, we're here, and then after a bit, I was like, what have they done here? And they'd sort of like just lost it. And then Paul Weller and then when they went to I can't think what it called now. Stout Council. You know what I mean? Stout Council.
Yeah.
They just lost it. But initially, the songs "Eating Rifles," "Down in Tube Station," it's like you felt it drew you there. There was a story that you could smell it. When the lyrics were just amazing. The smell of brown leather was blended in with the weather. I mean, that is just genius, isn't it? And I think we've lost that. When you're right, they get commercial, don't they? Because they sort of.
It's like they lose their edge, and I think once they get a few pennies in the bank as well, they lose that kind of working class edge, because before they were kind of writing songs for the people, because they were part of the people and they were going through the same vibes, do you know what I mean? The same kind of lifestyle, blah. But once you get a few quid in the bank and you kind of take yourself off and you're a millionaire, and you're having like holidays all over the world, and you get 3 blah blah blah, you kind of lose that. You kind of detached a little bit from reality, so you lose that edge, I think, and that's what's happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think the other thing is they're trying to they've got a great following, and it's like you've got the record companies or whoever saying, well, actually, there's a bigger cake here, but you're going to have to sort of drop that because Betsy won't really like you talking about that. But if you start singing about this, lovely flowers, and whatever, start singing about that, and I think you're right. There's a combination of pressure from that and the not the fan base, but the new kind of fan base, what they're going for, and them losing the roots, and it just rounds them off into some same as everything else, and I think it's sad when they do it.
Well, they do. I think they forget what made them famous in the first place. you know, and try to go off and go a little bit internal and think they're all, you know, arty and all that kind of shite. But really, just stick to what the fans love and stick to what the fans like. And what I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's the fans that got you there in the first place anyway. So why are you off there trying to change the world and be all arty with your music when you provide them with the music that they love? You know what I mean?
Speaks to you, tells a story, gets you here, and that's what I think makes a good track. It's the story. It takes you on a journey, and I think reggae does that. I used to do a country show as well. I think country music does that as well. You know, it's not all about me dog's died and my wife's left me and trucks. But if you listen to some of that as well, there's a great story there, and that to me is great music. Yes, there's a time where you put something on. I love liquid drum and bass and electronic music. And there's a time and place where you put that on and go, yeah, I just want to chill out. I like this. I'm just floating along. And then there's other times you want to get in the car, put a track on and just sing your head off and just get it out there. And I think that's what's good about it. So I'm looking forward to what you're producing and what's going to come.
I think life in itself, I've been trying to do this with comedy as well. And I think comedy is very similar to music in that sense. It can go a little bit too wokey or political or blah, blah, blah. I think, see, I'm old school with the comedy, you see. I love like Norman Wisdom and Laurel and Hardy and Morgan Wise and Two Ronnies and all that. I mean, this is why I'm promoting all the old school.
I wondered when I saw the T-shirt. I wondered what that was. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So this is what we're doing, and I've got T-shirts just with the silhouettes on. So we got Laurel and Hardy, we got Norman Wisdom, Cooper, and everything, just to refresh people's minds and get the Carry On films out there with Sid James on it and everything, because the old school comedy is forgotten about, and it's some of the best comedy you will ever watch. The artistry behind it, and it's the same as music. You know what I mean? And we need to start back and reintroducing it to the kids nowadays so they can see what they're actually missing.
You're definitely right, because there's a big change, wasn't there, in the 80s with the alternative comedy comedians. All the Ben Eltons came out, but you're right, Laurel and Hardy, just for me, I remember watching that kind of stuff with my granddad. A long time. I was only young. Harold Lloyd, all that sort of stuff. He used to do all his own stunts, and I used to be mesmerised by it. It's like, oh, this is just. But Laurel and Hardy, fantastic, and Morecambe and Wise. If you watch, I don't think I don't think I appreciated them as much as a kid as I do now. For watch someone and go, that is genius. The timing. What that's doing, they keep bringing the same things up. It's here and it's it. But that makes it. It was really good, wasn't it? And some of the stuff they did with some of the guests was like, they didn't know what day it was.
One-liners, though, isn't it? Exactly. The one-liners were deadly. It's like, I just remember that Eric Morecambe when he couldn't sleep and he got out of bed because the draft was coming through the window. And then all of a sudden an ambulance went flying past and he said he's never going to sell any ice creams going at that speed. It's things like that, you know what I mean? They're just never going to get that again.
It's mad. It's mad. And things out. It's weird how everything moves on. And it's good if people step back a bit, because we don't. It's all short. Everything's short form, isn't it? Everyone's consuming. We've got into this bum, and I do it as well. And I try and avoid it as much as I can. But we're into short form hits, aren't we, of dopamine? So, that was funny. And then I'll scroll through and go, there was something funny, but it was like, and you're forgetting it. So you think it's funny or it's interesting, and then 2 minutes later you're going, I don't even know what I've watched. And it's without getting all conspiracy theorists, it's there for a reason, isn't it? It's there to keep you consumed in front of your screen, because what's the best thing you can do is get out in nature, walk, absorb the air, get the sun on your face, listen to some great reggae music, as an example. Do you know what I mean? House of Fyah, get that on your playlist. But that's what we should be doing. There used to be a program, didn't we? Why don't you get out, turn the TV off, and get out of the house? I mean, I saw a great one the other day when I was talking about that, and he's like, to his young lad, he says, well, punishment for us when we was kids was keeping us in, and he's like, what do you mean, Dad? Well, the punishment for us was we had to stay. And he went, well, that's all I want to do. He went, yeah, exactly. But he said, I don't understand. What do you mean that was punishment? He says, well, we wanted to go out, ride our bikes and play with our mates. He says, no. He says, that was punishment to us, making us stay in. And the lad's like, well, That doesn't make any sense at all. Everything that I want's in the house, and we've lost contact with reality, haven't we?
It's so sad, and I think as Gen Xers, mate, we were the last ones to appreciate that as well. You know, I mean, I saw something very similar to you, but it was to do with the fact that because we'd wake up in the morning in the summer holidays and we'd just be out on our bikes all day, and it was when the sun just started to tip down and the street lights came on.
Oh, you had to be home.
That's when we knew we had to be home. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you had to be home. Be home when the lights go start. That's when we used to say, "Come home when the lights go down." When it goes start going dark, you've got to be home by then. And it's like, but, and I've seen some other things about that where people said, "Did you learn? Parents just let you go?" We used to leave first thing in the morning with a bottle of water or something, and they never knew where we was going until we picked back up at 5 o'clock at night, and that was it. You know what I mean? Or at 6 o'clock at night, and that was it all summer, wasn't it?
Well, I used to remember going in the chip shop as well, because chips back in the day used to be 45p. But you could go in with 10 pence and go, "Can I just have 10 pence worth?" And they'd give you 10 pence worth, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because they've got 50 kids coming in getting 10 pence worth, and they're all right, and they're getting a few quid in the pocket. So, yeah, and there's, you treat kids, they've probably got kids themselves, or it's whatever. It's Mark. There you go, Mark. Go on, looked after Matt. He's sound, isn't he? To make sure you're being fed and looked after. And so it's strange how life has changed. And wouldn't it be nice if we could I've got someone's at the front door. If we could get back to some of that, do you know what I mean? It would, and that's why you're doing it, which is great. This is
why we're doing all of it. This is why we're doing the music that we're doing. We just try. I think it's just bring back a little more humanity than. I think things have got a little sterile. Do you know what I mean? And I think we need a little bit more personality and personable relationships again. I think it's all too, like you say, scrolling and forgetting. You know, I think personable relationships and personable music and stuff that people can relate to. I think it'll be like water on an arid desert. It needs refreshing. You know what I mean? We need to bring it back a little bit.
Yeah, and obviously we want the younger people involved. We want them involved, but there's also quite a lot of us out there of a certain age who remember all that and will appreciate that. So hopefully they'll get on board straight away, and hopefully that'll get pushed down to their kids, because that's how a lot of that. I think that's where it's also lost, is as when we were growing up, your parents would have music, like you was talking about your mum. My mum and dad always had music playing, and I used to listen to all the stuff that everyone quotes, you know what I mean? Led Zeppelin, all that sort of, the Beatles, you know. So maybe that's another area that's lost, is the kids that are younger people have got their own network companies, they've got their own phones, and they're not travelling around the same with the parents in the car and the music playing. Because a lot of the time what they do, my lad does, changes my music, puts his own music on. So he's not learning. And in the house and that, and I think that's probably where we've lost it a bit, is it's not being trickled down from the parents to the kids as much as it was back in the day. So.
No, I mean, I think, I mean, not all of them, but I think the kids nowadays, they're searching for more substance as well within music, because a lot of it is very generic nowadays. And I think that the frequency that's put out within the music nowadays has changed, and it is very... I don't know. I mean, for want of a better word, it's a bit shit, if I'm brutally honest. You know, it hasn't got the quality that the old music has got. It hasn't got the character. It hasn't got the different styles. You know, back in the day, in the 80s and everything, and the early 90s, people were fans of certain music. You don't get those different categories anymore, even. It's just a block of sound now. Back in the day, you had your reggae, you had your rock, you had the indie, you had your, the big new romantics, Duran Duran. There was just so many different styles of music out there available to you. You know, it's quite shocking actually how music has gone.
Do you know what? I never thought about that, because I do obviously liked all that. I liked all the different things, and a bit of Spandau Ballet in it, but. Thinking about it, when you go or you listen to anything, you're quite limited now, aren't you? You're either going to search for stuff that you remember from back in the day, so you've got all that sort of stuff, or it's, when I look at it, you've got electronic dance music, haven't you? You've got your hip hop type stuff as well. You might have have you got any decent rock bands? Not really, I don't think. Apart from your AC/DCs that have been going forever. There's not really anything,
mate,
is there?
But when you look at it, it's like unless you're into, I don't know, Dua Lipa, Coldplay, Ed Sheeran,
It's pop music, isn't it?
and who's the crap one? Oh God, what's her name? The country kind of singer that just oh God, what's her name? Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
You know, unless you're into that, there's not a lot else really out there for you to go, oh, I'm a fan of that, or I'm a fan of. For me, I mean, I may be talking old-fashioned.
No,
here.
I don't. I think you're right when you look at it, because I'm obviously stuck in certain things that I'm listening to and I'm watching. But I think that's the issue, and it's going back to this. It's a bit like business, isn't it? And the food industry and everything, and car industry. It all gets consolidated. So at one time there was thousands of companies, and now there's 5 running the whole planet from food. And same with cars; they all consolidate. And I think that's what's potentially the same thing that's happened with music. It's all consolidated down. So these giant record companies who absorb 90% of the revenue out of Spotify are giving this homogenized, as you put it, crap. You know, it's processed shit, isn't it? Like the processed shit we're eating. It's processed, and you're right. There's not. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that a bit more because it's very interesting. There's really good music out there in the underground. Because we play it all the time, the indie music. There's some great new reggae bands, but it's not there because they're going, fuck that off. We don't want that because this is making us loads of money. We're all interested. We're not interested in the craft, the talent. We just want more cash.
Yeah, we don't want people thinking for themselves at all. Do you know what I mean? We just want. That's what it is, and it's like you said with the shops as well. It's like back in the day, you had all different shops because they were locally owned. You know, now every town or city you go to looks the same.
Oh, it's boring.
They got a Nando's, they got a McDonald's, they got a Burger King, they got a Turtle Bay, they got an ABC Cinema, they got, or a Tesco Express. They all look the same. So if I'm studying Bristol, I might as well be studying Luton.
I know, and that yeah, I noticed that quite a few years ago. That happening where you used to go on holiday somewhere, or you go to Yorkshire or you go to Cornwall or anything, and you'd be different. And there's still places that are a little bit like that now. But you go now and you go, well, it's just the same as being back home. And I think the only way you don't experience that is if you go to a completely different part of the world. I was in Thailand a couple of months ago to see my lad, and it was nice to go out there. But even so, there's still things out there, but it is different. You know what I mean? It's
well, you saw it either got a nail bar, a Turkish barber, or and a vape shop. That's how you can tell.
Yeah, every other one. Every other one's like that. It's mad, innit? And a coffee shop.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Nothing interesting. Do you know what I mean? It's not like the coffee shops in Amsterdam. The proper coffee shops over here. What's the coffee shop in Amsterdam? I lived in Amsterdam Rotterdam for a year. I lived in 1999. So love the place. Love the place.
Bulldogs. They used to call them the Bulldogs, didn't they?
Yeah, Bulldog Bar, and it's mad in Holland where you can't have alcohol and a cannabis in the same. You have to be separate. There's one in Amsterdam, I don't know if it's still there, where there was a bar, next door was a coffee shop, but a door linking the two. So you can go into one and then walk into the other.
God help you.
That's mad. Absolute madness. Anyway, I think we proper coffee in every bar, Janice is saying. We've been rattling on for an hour, Matt, and I've really enjoyed it. Is there anything we've not covered you want to talk about and promote? Obviously, you want to promote the band House of Fyah. But
I mean that thing. I mean, I just want to. I mean, whoever's watching, just if people have voted for us on the Heritage chart, thank you so much for doing that. It really does mean a lot. Download the track. It's available on all the main digital platforms. And check us out at houseoffyah.com. That we got a web page up and everything. So come and say hello on that. But we're on all the socials. We're on the Instagram, TikTok, and all the Facebook stuff. But yeah, come and just say hello because we've got new and updated material coming up and videos every other day. And so it's we're trying to make it more interactive, where like we just spoken about, like the old days, more personable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I'm doing a lot of work at the minute with my brother on another project on AI because we've always kept ahead of technology. And just to add to it, and what some of the predictions are, and I can see it coming, is in a bit people will not know what is real and what is AI on social media. So
Yeah.
people, I think what people will do is they will then seek or want the human element, and this is why I keep saying to bands, be more human, tell stories on your social media, not just, oh, we've got a new track out, it's going to be great news. Do some behind the scenes in the studio, tell daft stories about your guitar with a hole in it or whatever it is, because I think people will crave in the coming years something that is real and is personal.
Yes.
Because everything they're going to be
Absolutely.
consuming is going to be artificial. Everything's going to be artificial, and you won't know what's real and what's not.
I agree
So,
completely.
so I think what you're doing is good.
Back for that because I completely agree with everything you've just said.
Yeah, and so I think what you're doing is good. That you're looking at that because you're potentially ahead of that curve and bringing people along, and it'd be great to see people going out and watching bands more, consuming, getting out of the house and being around people and getting into,
I tell you what I think it is. I think it's because of our age. It's because us as a band, we don't need that kind of technology or the AI. We are happy with real human. Do you know what I mean? That's what we find attractive, and that's what we enjoy. We like the personable side of it. It's humanity. We want that. So AI or technology for us is really just a tool to get the music out there.
Correct.
Do you know what I mean? That's all it will ever be.
Same with me. Same with me. What I'm doing, a lot of the stuff I'm doing is how can I apply that to what I'm doing to make my shows better, to make my job easier, and that's why I'm using it. I don't want to, we've actually created. We've got some AI tracks out that we released ages ago. I'm not even sure how they're doing, but one of them, "Stay Real," and basically the lyrics are saying "Stay real." AI's taking up, but it's a cracking track. But I'm not done it to say this is what you should be listening to. It's a bit of a piss take of the AI saying you should be staying real. Anyway, enough of that. But yeah, it's coming. Things are changing. But can people let's get back to some roots? You know what I mean? Some of the roots of music. So
Yeah.
I'm going to wrap up, but
humanity just a little bit. That's what we need to do.
we do need to get away from it. We need to unlock ourselves from the matrix a bit before we get too locked in.
No, you're dead right. Bingo there, mate.
Right, we're going to say to everyone, stay on the line. I'll just have a quick chat with you when we finish. But that's been Matt Hoy. Go and check him out. House of Fyah, brilliant. Looking forward to what they're going to be bringing out. And as always, Matt, it's been an absolute pleasure to chat to you, man. Really has. I wish you all success, and please say hello to the rest of the guys for us.
I will do, mate. Thanks for having me, mate.